Hello everybody, my name is Furious Gamer, and welcome back to another 1 to 5 scale United States Pacific War Battle Memorial. Today I am uh, reminding you all, I guess, of the Battle of the Santa Cruz Islands, a rather significant battle that took place 80 years ago today, ended October 26th, 1942. I'm going to read off Wikipedia here, because, yeah. I didn't have the time to write down an entire essay. The Battle of the Santa Cruz Islands, fought during the 25th to the 27th of October 1942, is sometimes referred to as the Battle of Santa Cruz, or the Third Battle of the Solomon Sea in Japan, and in Japan as the Battle of the South Pacific, was the fourth aircraft carrier battle of the Pacific Campaign of World War II. It is also the fourth major naval engagement fought between the United States Navy and the Imperial Japanese Navy during the lengthy and strategically important Guadalcanal campaign. As in the Battle of the Coral Sea, Midway, and the Eastern Solomons, the ships of the two adversaries were rarely in sight or gun range of each other. Instead, almost all attacks on both sides were mounted by carrier or land-based aircraft. In an attempt to drive Allied forces from Guadalcanal into nearby islands and the end of a stalemate that had existed since September 1942, the Imperial Japanese Army planned a major ground offensive on Guadalcanal for the 20th to the 25th of October 1942. In support of this offensive, and with the hope of engaging Allied naval forces, Japanese carriers and other large warships moved into position near the southern Solomon Islands. From this location, the Japanese naval forces hoped to engage and decisively defeat any Allied, primarily U.S., naval forces, especially carrier forces, that responded to the ground offensive. Allied naval forces also hoped to meet the Japanese naval forces in battle, with the same objectives of breaking the stalemate and decisively defeating their adversary. The Japanese ground offensive on Guadalcanal was underway with the Battle of Henderson Field, while the naval warships and aircraft from the two adversaries confronted each other on the morning of the 26th of October 1942, just north of the Santa Cruz Islands. After an exchange of carrier air attacks, the Allied surface ships retreated from the battle area, with the fleet carrier Hornet sunk and another fleet carrier, Enterprise, heavily damaged. The participating Japanese carrier forces also retired of the high aircraft and aircrew losses, plus significant damage to the fleet carrier Shikaku and the light carrier Zuio. Santa Cruz was a tactical victory and a short-term strategic victory for the Japanese in terms of ships sunk and damaged, and to control the seas around Guadalcanal. However, Japan's loss of many irreplaceable veteran aircrews proved to be a long-term strategic advantage for the Allies, whose aircrew losses in the battle were relatively low and quickly replaced. Japan hoped for and needed a bigger, more decisive victory. The fact that the naval battle was won and just after the land battle was lost meant that the opportunity to exploit this victory had already passed. So, a relatively, pretty significant battle of the Pacific War, and it is the, I guess, last major battle of 1942. That is, if you don't consider Tasfaranga, which comes up in a few days, which will be over here, as significant, I guess. So going through these, also, this battle resulted in the United States aircraft carrier Hornet being sunk, leaving Enterprise the only active aircraft carrier in the Pacific after USS Saratoga is in and out of dry dock almost constantly, and USS Ranger being in the Atlantic Ocean. So she's right here. But anyway, let's get into this. This is not meant to profit off of any war situations. I personally do not justify any of the actions taken by either side of the war, European or Pacific. So don't ask me about it. Don't, just don't say I'm supporting anything or no, I'm just saying, hey, this happened. Not saying it was good, just saying it happened. But anyway, let's get into this. Starting off with the Japanese forces, as this was a Japanese victory. You have the Heavy Cruiser Division 4 heavy cruisers, Atago and Takao, with the Miyako, Maya, I should have some cruisers here. There should be one light cruiser, the Isuzu, two Yaguma class destroyers, Mikinami and Naganami, Shiratsuyu class destroyers, Kawakaze, Suzukaze, and Yumikaze, and the carriers Junyo and Heiyo of the Heiyo class. If I probably need to review these at some point, but if you want a tutorial for them, I can give them to you. Two Kagero class destroyers, Kuroshio and Hayashio. You have Kongo class battleships Kongo and Haruna. I still need to redesign them. Two Kagero class destroyers Ayashio and Kagero herself. Kagero. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I am. You have the two main, the stars of the show, if you may, of the Japanese order of battle, the Shokaku and the Zuikaku, followed by the light carrier Zuio, the Mogami. I didn't fix this like I was supposed to. The Mogami class cruiser Kumano, 7 Kagero class destroyers, Hatsukaze, Yukikaze, Maikaze, Hamikaze, Amatsukaze, Tokatsukaze, and Arashi, with the Akizuki class destroyer Terizuki. You have 2 more Kongo class battlecruisers Hiei and Kirishima. You have 1 Mogami, Suzuya, 2 Tone class battleships Tone and Shikuma, 1 Nagara class, here she is, light cruiser Nagara herself, 3 Yugumo class destroyers Makigumo, Kazugumo, and Yugumo herself, and 4 Kagero class destroyers Akigumo, Yorikaze, Tanakaze, and Isakaze. Isakaze. I need to watch more anime. I'm sure I can look up pronunciation guides somewhere, but actually hearing them said is a lot better. And then, since this was an American loss, we look at the American side second. So under the, by the way, the Japanese were under the, under the command of Nobutake Kondo, Kakuji Kakuta, I don't know, Chuichi Nagumo, and Hiroyake Abe. The Americans are under the command of Admiral Thomas C. Kincaid. You have the USS Yorktown, the South Dakota class battleship South Dakota herself, the USS Portland, USS Atlanta, USS Porter, and Mahan. You have 5 Mahans. You have Cushing, Preston, Smith, Cunningham, and Shaw, and the Gridley class destroyer. Gridley class destroyer Maori. under the control of George D. Murray. You have the USS Hornet, Northampton, Pensacola, San Diego, Juneau, and the 4 Sims-class destroyers, Morris, Anderson, Hughes, and Muston. So, it's a pretty significant battle in the Pacific Theater, and is one of the major losses, or one of the last great victories of the Japanese, one of the biggest losses of the United States, as in Battle of the Coral Sea, we lost Lexington. In the Battle of Midway, we lost Yorktown. In the Naval Battle of Guadalcanal, right? Hold on. Yeah. We lost Wasp. And in this battle, we lost Hornet. While USS Saratoga was still in dry dock for a very long time, going under repairs, USS Enterprise CB-6 was the only major carrier left in the United States Navy fit for service. And then, even though they didn't really have a use by this point, we still had battleships coming online. In 1941, we had North Carolina and Washington. In 1942, we had the 4 South Dakota-class battleships. And then in the coming years, 1943 to 1944, we would have the Iowas. But the Navy didn't seem to realize, before all of these ships were laid down, that carriers were the dominant power, so yeah. Of course, like always, if you'd like to see any tutorials for any of the ships here, feel free to let me know. I have not had the motivation to do any tutorials recently, so hopefully I will get back into that pretty soon. But yeah, I guess just a moment of silence for those who fought and died during the Battle of Santa Cruz Islands and the Second World War as a whole. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.